Hello and welcome to Dream Big, a program outlining the Achieving the Dream initiatives at Tyler Junior College. I'm Brian Houston. It's a pleasure to serve as your host as we examine the National Achieving the Dream initiative and how Tyler Junior College is responding to this nationwide effort to improve college success. We're very glad to have with us today Jana Chansey, the Executive Director of Enrollment Management, and Billy Anderson, the Program Coordinator for Developmental Education at TJC. Thanks very much to both of you for being with us.
Thank you.
Before we get started, I guess we should first establish, Jana, exactly what Achieving the Dream is and how it was developed.
Well, Achieving the Dream is a national nonprofit organization that looks at college going rates and success rates of those students and really focuses on low-income students and students of color.
Okay, and how did Tyler Junior College become involved with this national initiative?
Well, our provost was at a school that was previously in Achieving the Dream, and it was really something he wanted to really engage in, and you have a peer of colleges that you share strategies and success rates, and some of those have really made a turnaround at their colleges.
Okay, I'm going to ask you both to tell me how long you've been in education overall and at Tyler Junior College. Jana?
I have been in education for 22 years and 17 of those at TJC.
Okay, and Billy, what about you?
I've taught for 27 years, the last 9 of those at TJC.
Okay, because we're going to come back and talk about some of the differences that you've seen in students as they came into junior college back when we were all youngsters and about now. TJC joined Achieving the Dream in the spring of 2010. 2 years later, Jana, what has the college learned, first of all, about college success at TJC?
Well, the first year we were really in a planning stage, and we're looking at strategically how we were going to improve and focus on some of those initiatives. And we have 3 priorities, and the first one really focuses on developmental math, which is Billy's area. The second is a college going experience or a new student experience, and the third part is the training of the faculty and staff to successfully initiate those programs.
And before we get into the specifics of that, now I'm going to go back to that wealth of experience we're talking about. Talk about the difference in the average junior college student today as compared to what it was like when you first got in. Billy, I'll let you go first.
Well, it's hard to define the average student because there's such diversity in the classroom now. It's not just the 18-year-old straight out of high school that you think that we see at the community college level. There is a number of students that are returning from the workforce because of economics to come back and try to retrain and retool for a different type of vocation. So there's just a wide range of age spans and experience spans, and they all bring different things to the classroom, and they all need different things of the classroom.
Okay, and what about you, Jana? What have you seen that's different?
Well, there's a lot of differences. A lot of them aren't going to school full-time. They're going to part-time class, taking part-time classes. They are working full-time. They're taking care of parents or children, or just a different diverse background of student and what they're bringing to the classroom.
And I would think that that makes the job of an educator that much more difficult, because when these people all come into, for instance, the same math class, you may have a student who's coming straight out of high school and moving right in, but at the same time you've had somebody that's been out of school for a long time, and you're having to get this same material out to a very different type of student in the same classroom, right?
That's correct. The skill sets are very different, and so that's why we're hoping with our modularized instruction to be able to identify which skill sets are needed by which students in a more specific way so that we can help them one-on-one.
Okay, we'll come back and talk about that modular system in just a moment, but we mentioned the priorities of the program, and you've selected some priorities. One of those, of course, is one that's no different than it was when we were all in school. That's in the area of math. Students when I was in school struggled with it. Students now struggle with it. Many students just are not prepared for college math when they graduate from high school, and then that means they have to take a remedial course or they have to take developmental math before they can advance to college level work. Are you still seeing that to be true?
Unfortunately, that is the case for many students. So what we've tried to do to get students to transition into college level coursework at a faster rate is we've implemented some computerized diagnostic testing and individualized, or what we call modularized, instruction in the classroom. We've also put in an early alert program that incorporates midterm grades and some supplemental electronic tutoring for students who are struggling. And finally, we have an initiative where we have mandated that any student who places into our beginning level mathematics class must also co-enroll in a study skills class.
In doing this and implementing all these different programs, and you see the struggles of the math student every day, how have things been different from your perspective during this past school year?
Well, in the modularized classroom, the student comes in and takes a computerized diagnostic pretest over a unit of instruction, or what we call a module. That pretest then identifies which student learning outcomes that student needs help with and assigns them work accordingly. They practice that work and then they have an opportunity to post-test. If the student score is high enough, then they can actually place out of that unit and progress to the next unit. So we have the individualized instruction, but we also have a self-paced format because the student is determining which units they spend more time on and which units they spend less time on. The role of the instructor is completely different than in a traditional classroom. The instructor is more of a facilitator. They engage the students in one-on-one instruction or in small group instruction. And we're hoping that this is going to help build the instructor-student relationship, which will help us with our retention rates as well.
Okay, I understand we spoke with another math professor who is a proponent of the new modular format, Catherine Murray. And Catherine describes the differences she's seen using that new modular lecture style.
The modular more is students doing hands-on learning. It's not sitting in a classroom, teacher at the front of the board, showing all the examples and then leaving and then having to go do the work on their own. They actually get to come in, sit down at the computers, and it's a hands-on learning. They're learning while they're doing. And really that's the best way to learn math. What I've seen so far in the 8 weeks that I did a modular class is the students actually, they had to warm up to it because it is new. It's something they really haven't experienced because our history in education is, lecture, work, lecture, work. So they had to kind of warm up to it, but I think once they got into it, it helped them tremendously because then they could realize that, you know what, I need to spend more time on this. I don't have to hurry up and finish it and try to understand it by next week because we're starting something new next week. They were able to take their time. They were able to go through it at their own pace, use more examples, get more help if they needed. And then those topics that they already knew, they could just fly through it. They didn't have to wait on the rest of the class to finish an assignment or wait for the whole class to get to the next section. So I think they've been receptive to it and they've realized that they actually can learn from it because they are doing it while they're learning it, and they can go through the things they already know and then take more time on the things that they don't know.
And that is math professor Catherine Murray. This sounds like a great approach with the modular initiative, but is this the right strategy for all developmental math students?
Well, there is no one-size-fits-all solution to the problem, but we really think that the modularized classroom will help us identify the specific needs of the students. At the same time, we do continue to offer our developmental math classes in a variety of formats.
Okay, and you mentioned variety. What other steps are being taken to help these developmental math students?
Well, I mentioned earlier the Early Alert program, and that program instructors identify within the first few weeks of class students that have poor attendance or low grades, and they refer them to our Student Success Coordinator, who in turn contacts the students, tries to identify what the problem is that's interfering with their success in the classroom, and connect them with the appropriate support services that we have for their particular situation. We follow this by midterm grade reporting for all students, so students sort of get a progress check along the way. They know where they're standing in class and what they need to work on. And we have also implemented for students in our beginning level mathematics classes that they must co-enroll in our Student Success Study Skills class to help them learn how to learn.
Okay, and gut feeling, how do you think this is working so far?
Well, we've only been in it in a year, so we won't have a full year's worth of data until the end of this semester, but our fall data is showing that this has improved our student success rate with our beginning algebra students.
That's a very positive sign. Jana, what about you? Your gut feeling on how things are going so far?
Well, the preliminary data look, it's any change, big or small, is an improvement to completion in the focus of that, not only complete developmental ed, but eventually complete a degree or certificate.
Okay, and obviously, again, very new in the program right now, so
Absolutely.
probably next year at this time we'll have a lot better idea how things are going. Okay,
Correct.
Okay. All right, so that summarizes priority 1. We'll come back to take a look at the second priority, which is to improve the transition to college in just a moment. But first, we'd like for you to take a look at a grand prize winning video that was produced by Prince George's Community College in Maryland. This is Jessica Curtis. She's a student at Prince George's who is benefiting from the college's Achieving the Dream initiatives.
Hello everyone, my name is Jessica Curtis. I'm a student ambassador here for Prince George's Community College. My major is to obtain my associate's degree in early childhood education and later transfer for my bachelor's degree at University of Maryland College Park. After taking my placement test here at the college, I noticed that I scored into developmental courses. After me taking my first developmental course, I felt as if I wasn't able to comprehend materials. I felt as if I felt like I wasn't on grade level. So after my first semester here, in taking the courses, I noticed that it was time that this would help me prepare and you'll have a strong foundation for teaching. My counselors and also my advisors are able, I can go in and see with them and speak with them about my courses and graduation plan. My mentor, which is Ms. Donica Drea and Ms. Candace Cooper. Ms. Donica Drea runs the Alana program, and I'm able to meet with her about graduation courses, and Ms. Candace Cooper, she was my mentor through my scholarship, the Catherine Dre Wood Foundation. Also going to the math tutor, they allow me to go in and sit within tutors, personal tutors, and also group tutors about any questions or concerns for my assignments.
Jessica is one of our success stories at Prince George's Community College. Jessica was enrolled in pre-algebra DVM 0031 in the fall of 2010. She visited our math lab on a very consistent basis. Michael Ticklew was her tutor and did a wonderful job. Jessica is currently enrolled in intermediate algebra, Math 104, and slated to graduate in 2013. And just a note, Jessica has been on the Dean's list every semester since she's been enrolled at Prince George's Community College.
I dream big for college and succeed because my parents, number one. They're able to sit down with me sometimes, help me with my assignments and other courses. Knowing that I have my number one, my parents as my backbone and the strength for me to continue to keep going, they allow me to believe that Prince George's Community College helped me and transform my life and stay on graduation for 2013.
That was Jessica Curtis, a student at Prince George's Community College, describing her success made possible in part because of the Achieving the Dream initiatives at that college. At Tyler Junior College, faculty and administration identified 3 core areas of focus for achieving the dream. We learned just a few minutes ago about the remedial math efforts. Here to talk about priority 2 right now, back with us, Jana Chansey, the team leader and the executive director of enrollment management of TJC. What is enrollment management at TJC?
Well, it's all the areas you think of getting registered and enrolled at TJC. From admissions, we have the dual credit area, to advising, and the registrar's office, which is student records.
Okay, so priority 2, what is that second priority, and what changes are taking place to implement that?
Well, priority 2 really is in partnership with priority 1. It's the student services side in conjunction with the academic side. And priority 2 focuses on 3 areas: orientation, freshman interest groups, and this test prep.
Okay, I know when I was getting into college, an orientation class was something that you rolled your eyes at. You went into it. It was about a 3-hour deal. It was one of those jump through the hoops kinds of things, and you think, why have I just, that's 3 hours of my life I'll never get back. What's the difference between that and what you're talking about now?
Well, we offer the traditional summer 2-day orientation just to get acclimated to the campus and find your way around. But we also implemented 2 years ago, I believe, a Corey 100, which it's now under student development, but that's a modular-based class that's completely online, where students go in and they get acclimated to the college through these modules: student services, financial aid, judicial. It really is those things you need to know that you don't know you need until you need them.
All right. Now, there's also something called a FIG, F-I-G, that TJC's been working to establish. So what is a FIG?
A FIG stands for Freshman Interest Groups, and they really are something new to TJC but not new nationally, and that's where you get a group of students. We try to limit it to 20 in the group with either like majors or like test skills, and a lot of those live on campus, or they don't have to. Ours just happen to be living learning communities.
Okay. When we talk about all of these things that you're trying to do here right now, how does that play into the goal of getting these kids through school to graduation?
Well, the very first thing is the test prep. Like Billy was saying, too many students unfortunately come in and they score into developmental education. The test prep is going to take you from, okay, do I need a whole semester of that, or do I just need some tutoring, a refresher? Hopefully that'll help some of those students get out of developmental ed. The second part is going through the new student experience, and then the third part is actually getting involved on campus with the FIGs, not just in the academic classroom but also in the social activities, because we know that the ones that get involved are our completers. They are happy, they stay involved, and then they complete their studies and either transfer or get a terminal degree.
So you literally see a connection between the student being involved in the social life and activity of what goes on campus as being instrumental in them finishing school and achieving that degree.
Absolutely. Our student athletes, the band, Apache Bells, anything that they can get involved with, and FIG's just another part of it, those actively engage them and they have higher success rates. And with our FIGs, we actually have business, general studies, and criminal justice, and there are faculty mentors that are assigned to those groups and serve as a mentor to help them, if they reach a barrier or a hurdle, help them get over it as painless as possible.
So, gut feeling, how do you think this program is working? Again, a newly instituted kind of an initiative. What kind of things are you seeing so far that tell you that you're on the right track?
Well, traditionally, like I said, only about 50% return for the second year. This is our first full year, but we've already seen an increase in the number that even return from fall to spring. So we hope that transitions to their second year.
Do you get feedback from students on any of this stuff?
Absolutely. We do student interest groups, and we do focus groups. We do the SESI, which is a nationwide student survey. So we take that information, and it's really a vast information you receive from it, and then we try to look strategically how to identify those barriers.
What kind of feedback do you get from the kids?
They like technology, like we were talking about before. They want to be engaged. They want to be informed. They don't like to have a problem come to them and then not know where to go to get help for it.
Are you finding that with the use of the technology and the social media that they're a lot more willing to ask those questions, though, when they run into a roadblock, as opposed to just sitting in silence and suffering until failure?
Well, that's no different than us as adults. You know, sometimes you don't want to ask, as they think, a stupid question, whereas in these types of different modes of how we deliver them. They can send an email to the teacher, they can have that faculty mentor and take them aside, and really they all have the same questions, they're just too scared to ask them. So if it's addressed to the faculty, they're able to come and really identify it in the classroom and help those students get through the troubles.
It's very student friendly.
Very.
For sure. All right, so well, as you can see, TJC is identifying barriers to success and implementing programs that can be measured in future years to identify what works and what didn't work as well. So to take on a huge initiative like Achieving the Dream takes complete buy-in across the college, from administration to faculty members. And when we come back, we're going to talk with two people who are leading efforts to inform faculty about achieving the dream and make certain that those efforts are successful. We'll be right back.
Tyler Junior College is a tremendous institution in Tyler, Texas. And we firmly believe that not only is it an asset, but it produces great employees.
TJC's been an incredible partner in terms of economic growth and development.
When people go from here on into the workplace and become employees is something that is probably taken for granted but very critical to our whole economy.
Welcome back to Dream Big, the Achieving the Dream efforts for college success at Tyler Junior College. I'm Brian Houston, and joining me now are Shelley Caraway. She is the Assistant Dean of Liberal Arts and Sciences, and E.J. Inebu, who is the Coordinator of Professional Development at TJC. Shelley, how long have you been at Tyler Junior College now?
Almost 3 years.
And overall in education?
11.
Okay, and EJ, how about you?
I've been at TJC for about 3.5 years now, and this has been my first go in the educational realm. I originally came from industry.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
very
sir.
good. Okay, we'll fill some time with that later on, I'll bet. Ladies, we know that in all professions, the ugliest word on the planet is change, and there's always resistance to change. And in your position with this Achieve the Dream initiative right now, it's your job to, I guess, overcome the resistance that's going to naturally come from people on the faculty at TJC to join in and get excited about the program, about the Achieving the Dream initiatives. So, Shelley, first of all, tell me a little bit about the process and what has to happen to make certain that these initiatives are a success.
When we decided to join the Achieving the Dream initiative, the campus invited faculty and staff to join these different committees to define the parameters. And one of the outcomes of that exploration was the need for some professional development, some specific types of professional development. And so we were able to integrate those professional development needs and work with EJ to address them campus-wide.
How drastically different is the approach to teaching through the Achieving the Dream initiative to what the teachers maybe who've been in this for 20 years have dealt with?
Some of the pedagogies that we have identified that are successful or more successful with on Achieving the Dream campuses were new pedagogies for our campus. You visited earlier about the modularization of our developmental math program, and which is it makes the instructor more of a facilitator rather than a lecture-based instruction. And so we have incorporated some of those pedagogies, and other areas of the campus have also adopted that strategy, but we had to deliver training for that because it was not a natural for an instructor. And so EJ has been able to coordinate those efforts for us.
And do you find that there is buy-in in this? I mean, or let me ask you this first. What has been, if there are common resistances to it, and there are always and things like that, what are the most common fears that teachers who've been at it for a while have when they go through these kinds of things?
We have had a lot of buy-in because our Achieving the Dream initiative was voluntary, and we asked for volunteers. And so in that regard, I can say that we have not had a lot of resistance because those who have participated have volunteered and they've been open to the changes that were needed. And change, as you said, is the hardest. And educators are no different. We get comfortable, and so we've had to change the way we do things and be comfortable with the fact that one change may not be the answer, that we may have to change again.
But I guess what you're saying, when you see people who are volunteering, it's more of an energizing thing for people like them then, right?
It is. It's very exhilarating to see that you can make a change in your classroom and you can increase the success rates of your students over a previous semester's cohort. That's very energizing.
Absolutely. EJ, we've not been ignoring you.
Oh, no worries.
But, we talk about buy-in. I want to hear a little bit about the information about the process that you have. Tell me about your role in implementing this and trying to get buy-in from the facility.
Well, one of the things that we have been successful as professional development is concerned is kind of coordinating with our distance education department and instructional technologies. We kind of created a trifecta, if you will, of training that's available to our faculty and staff. We launched last year a training tab, which kind of is a one-stop shop for training. A lot of complaints that we got in the past from faculty and staff is, hey, EJ, we can't come to some of these trainings because they interfere with our class schedule. So now now we're able to videotape some of the training that we offer and put that online for faculty and staff, whether it's classroom management, instructional strategies, how to deal with incivilities in the classroom, just some tips for them to improve on their teaching repertoire. And I think the buy-in, like Dean Caraway said, has been very helpful because we're getting feedback from faculty on, hey EJ, we need more of this or less of this. We've also established professional development days. Last fall was our actual first professional development day that we had, and we had Dr. Rod Risley, who is the executive director for Phi Theta Kappa, come and talk about completion. And it was just a great, I guess, grand opening. To kind of build on that foundation of achieving the dream.
When you talk about completion, you're talking about the students getting through school successfully and all. And how many, is there a set number of hours, a minimum number of hours of development that have to go into the requirements for the professors that are involved in this program?
We're still kind of on the foundational blocks of building a certain amount of hours because every professor is different and they have their own areas of expertise, and some of them still have to maintain certain credentials for their area of expertise, but it's something that we're still working on in our professional development group.
What I would like to know is, based on, especially in your situation, because you've got a considerable amount of experiences, what kind of things have you learned through this program about the way educators work?
I am always amazed at the ability to collaborate across disciplines, and we have seen that. Our committee, we have a committee of 11 working on the professional development strategies, and that committee is made up of people across campus. We've got and the IT is represented. We've got our official professional development. We've got our faculty senate. We've got professional staff and office staff. We've got developmental instructors and credit level instructors. And it's just refreshing to see that collaboration, because as educators, we often get siloed, so to speak, within a discipline or with working with a certain group of people, and so that that renewed collaboratism is great.
And from your experience, because you're relatively young in the educational process, but what's this been like for you to be involved in this program?
This has been fantastic for me because I was actually a student at TJC back in 1999. I graduated in 1999. So coming on this side of the fence, being on the educator, administrator side of it, it's just given me kind of a full circle approach to how we're teaching our students. And it's been a wonderful opportunity to be a part of people that used to teach me, and now I'm collaborating with them in these efforts. So
well, we're very excited to see how this progresses over the course of time, and we appreciate you folks coming in today to talk a little bit about achieving the dream, and we wish you the best of luck as you continue to implement this. Thank you very much. Achieving the dream at Tyler Junior College, it's all about student success. TJC is working to help students to succeed and to enter the workforce prepared to continue to contribute to the economy. In our next edition of Dream Big, we'll be talking to some of the students who have been the beneficiary of these efforts and learn how they feel about TJ's work to help them achieve the dream of completing college. Thanks again for joining us. We will see you next time on Dream Big.